Hello, welcome to the sixth module of the catfish farming course by Agrodemy. In this module, we'll be talking about disease management and your fish health. We've spoken about feeding, we've spoken about setting up, we've spoken about selecting your fingerlings. Now let's talk about disease management and your general fish health. By the end of this video, you would have identified common disease and symptoms of catfish. You will understand how to prevent them or minimize the disease risk, and you will overall learn treatment and emergency management techniques for your catfish. So stay with me. What is the importance of disease management? If you don't manage disease, you will lose the productivity and profitability of your catfish business, and disease will reduce the growth rate of your fish, leading to the death of many of your fish and financial losses. You will lose money. This is why disease management is critical for your catfish business. There are key types of disease in catfish farming. There's the bacteria, there's the fungi, and there's the parasite. So bacteria is caused by poor water. Fungi, poor water and stress is bacteria. Fungi, unclean environment. You see them as white growths. Parasite, external, things you can see, especially where you keep them in crowded condition. Now, let's go to bacterial infection. Common bacterial infection is Aeromonas and Edwardsella. The symptoms is that you begin to see skin ulcer, their fin begins to rot, you see that they are no more interested in eating, and they have erratic swimming. And what is the causes? Poor water quality and overcrowding. That's what causes it. My advice: monitor your water and maintain stable condition to reduce this risk. Next is fungal. For fungi, we have the Saprolegnia species. It is a popular fungal infection. It's like a cotton-like growth on the skin of the fish or on the gills, right? And it leads to poor feeding. You will see that your fish are struggling to eat. What causes it? Poor water again. Injury. Your fish has injury and you do not treat it, or you don't isolate the fish. And stress. What is the tips to this? Maintain high water quality. So if you are watching this video and you've not watched the video on high water quality, just pause and go back, because the disease, sickness, everything that has to do with your fish health, water quality affect it. Please remove any injured or weak fish immediately you identify it. What are the early warning signs of disease in a catfish? You see changes in their behavior, appetite, the way they used to swim. Next thing, you begin to see changes in their color. You begin to see spots. You see that their body begins to be bloated. You begin to see ulcers, slight wounds, and physically you see them always gasping for water. What are my tips? Act immediately at the first sign to prevent the spread of the disease. Always isolate. What is the importance of preventive health management? Preventive is better than treatment. Good practices will help you. Checking your water, balancing their diet, and reducing your stocking density so that they have enough space. Another thing you need to notice that keeping your tank clean helps you. Keeping your equipment clean helps you. Keeping up to your biosecurity measures. Restrict access to your farm except it's on excursion. And if they come on excursion, they have to follow all biosecurity measures. Disinfect every equipment and quarantine every new fish. If you don't quarantine new fishes, they would affect you. My advice: set up a cleaning schedule weekly. Have your biosecurity plan in place. If you're watching this video, this is your time to go and look for the video on safety of fish on Agrodemy and take that video very serious. Keep a good biosecurity plan. What is the role of water quality? Water quality is important. You see the pH, the temperature, the oxygen, always keep it within optimal range. In our previous videos, we've spoken about the optimal range. If you keep them at optimal range, your fish will not be stressed. Ammonia and nitrite, always monitor and keep it low. Once there is high level, you increase your disease risk. What is the tips? Always do regular testing, and water changes can significantly reduce your disease incidence, which is why we spoke about how you should be changing water. If you don't know about it, go and look for the video on water management for your catfish business. Vaccination is another way to prevent these things. Vaccine is not widely used in catfish farming, and it may not even be available for all of the pathogens that affect, but if you can find, always use vaccine. It reduces your bacterial infection, but the challenges is that it's cost to access and the availability is always a problem. My advice is consult a vet doctor. Look for a vet doctor or somebody that identifies as an aquaculture expert. Your best bet is go on agronomy matching services and book for one, and the person will share the vaccination options you can explore. When and how do you treat disease in catfish? First of all, recognize the signs early, then apply timely treatment. So treatment will vary by diseases. Some disease is antibiotics, especially for the bacterial infection. Other things, for the antibiotics, use the dosage, consulting your vet doctor. Sometimes you do salt bath. So for parasitic and fungal infection, salt bath help. Always learn about the effective way to go about salt bathing. Also, use chemical treatment with caution, because there are extreme cases where your vet doctor asks you to use chemical treatment. Chemicals like formalin can treat parasites, but you have to use it with caution. As a warning, if you overuse antibiotics, your fish will be resistant to them. So only use it when needed, so that when you use it, it can work. Once you have a outbreak, you come to your farm and notice that it's like the whole farm is sick, your whole fish is sick, isolate all the fish, move them to quarantine so that you can prevent the spread. Increase the aeration on your in your water so that the oxygen level will be high. Add aeration if needed. Disinfect every equipment. Begin to clean all your equipment. Prepare your emergency plan in advance, including having your isolation tanks and medication, which is why within your fish farm you should always have all the equipment that would help you do your test ASAP, quick test just before you take your samples to the lab. You should have your medications also. You should also have your isolation center. Any fish pond without an isolation center is not constructed properly. Now, how do you set up a quarantine system in your isolation center? Quarantine is for new fish 2 to 4 weeks before introducing them to your main pond, right? And the idea is in 2 to 4 weeks, by changing your water every week, 20%, 25%, by the fourth week, 100% of the water they have now lived in is your own water. Then you can move them into your main pond. Separate the equipment for quarantine takes. So the equipment you are using in quarantine center should be different from the one used from your day-to-day pond. Monitor your new fish daily. Any sign of disease, alert. Alert. Quarantine is very essential so that you can prevent introducing any new sickness to your whole entire stock just because you do not do your quarantine. Importance of tracking your fish health. Keep record. Have record of your water quality. Every week have a water quality reporting system. It should always be updated so that you can see when something is declining and begin to handle it. It also helps you to identify pattern. So if you notice that this is what is happening, and every time that the water system is around this temperature, for some reason this is what you notice, you now know the pattern and begin to prepare ahead of it. Keep a daily log book, either online or physical. For the online, I would ask you to go take the course on agronomy called the Agro Digital Officer Academy Program or the Agro Digital Professional Program, and learn how to use technology to keep this daily logbook so that you can manage your fish health properly. A recap: in conclusion, we have identified the common disease, the symptoms of it in the catfish. We've discussed how you can prevent it through water quality and your biosecurity. We've also identified treatment options that you can use, and we spoke about emergency management procedure. Now, with this knowledge, you can efficiently manage disease on your catfish farm. What is the activity now? List out the people you know you will need for this your catfish business. You need a vet doctor. If you have a vet doctor, let me know in the comment section that you have a vet doctor and you are ready for this system. On this note, I'll say thank you for staying to the end and see you in the next module.